We are Burning Youth, a blog collaborative of young adults who believe that the light outshines the darkness and our voices outlast the voices in our heads. We are louder. So podcasts haven't been as frequent as they should be, and that is mainly because Christmas is creeping up on us pretty quickly. We've been super busy with rushing around and all the goodness that comes with the Christmas season and celebrating the holidays with friends and family, and just rushing around in general can get quite exhausting and hectic. But Abby's here with me.
Hello.
And we are here to bring you a podcast number 4, which we're titling Hard Words to Say and How to Say Them. And I feel like this is a really important podcast because I think there are words we struggle saying, and I'm not talking about pronunciation. I'm talking about very, very simple words that in certain circumstances we have a hard time expressing ourselves, and it can make us feel very suppressed and like we can't let people see who we really are. And it's just more about opening up and being honest, and in doing so feeling liberated, like you can really say exactly what you feel in a polite and articulate way. So let's talk about hard words to say and how to say them. We have chosen 3 words, and I feel like the number 1 for me, and you can tell me how it is for you, Abs, but like for me, the number 1 hardest thing to say is no. Especially like in a lot of social situations, someone will ask something of me, and it's not, I've never really been in too many situations where it's like, you know, a life or death situation and I can't say no to it, like, you know, hey, we're gonna go drive off the cliff, wanna come? And I'm like, sure. Obviously nothing that extreme, but things like someone's like, oh, we're having an event at this place at this time and we really need people to help with fill in the blank. Can you do this? And then I feel this tremendous obligation to say, yes, I can do that, even if I don't have the time or maybe even capacity to do so. And a lot of times what this can lead to is saying yes to so many things that you, number 1, aren't getting to do the things that you feel called to do, the things that God has put in your life right now for you to really grab hold of and enjoy and chase. It also makes you feel very drained and burnt out and stifled because you weren't able to just politely say no. And I think one of the things that we have a misunderstanding in our head about the fact that it's not impolite to say no to something. Like, I mean, do you ever feel like that? Like when you say no to something, you feel like you're letting that person down, like big time?
No. See, I just said it. I didn't feel anything.
I get that so often, though. Like, I want to say yes, and I want to be, you know, the person that, you know, you can count on me to be there for you and, you know, do something for you. I'll do whatever you need done, and I feel bad if I can't do that for you.
Right. But you have to, like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like, with really any awkward words, I think. And it's like if somebody came up to you, even a stranger, and said that same thing to you that you think is so awkward, would it seem awkward to you?
Right.
And the answer is no.
Exactly.
Know, if you asked somebody to do something and they said, no, I'm sorry, I can't, I don't have the time, you wouldn't be personally offended by that or hurt by it.
Right. Like, we can use a blogging example since I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of our friends and contributors are all bloggers as well. If you, like, ask someone to do a guest post for you and then they said, no, I can't, I'm too busy. Sometimes you would get the feeling of like, oh, I annoyed that person, I feel bad. You did not annoy that person. Like, most likely they are not frustrated at all, they're not hurt at all, they just can't do it, just like how you would say that to someone. So you don't have hurt feelings, that person doesn't have hurt feelings, and if it was the other way around, you wouldn't be frustrated at that person, and it wouldn't, it might have even been just as hard for that person to say no as it would have been for you. But the thing is on both sides, really, this idea that there's like animosity is just a fantasy in your own head. Really, the person was probably, you know, just as afraid of, letting you down as you were of annoying them. So a lot of times it's just communication that's only going on in your head and not actually being spoken creates this scenario of friction that doesn't exist. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The second one I think is pretty hard is I need help. I feel like you should talk about this.
Well, probably the worst one to even talk about this because I have feelings. I have feelings of inadequacy a lot and just feelings of perfectionism. Like, I have to do this thing perfectly or I have to do it for myself, and a motto that I live by that probably isn't healthy is if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And I tend to do a lot of things myself for that reason of just, well, I can handle it, and I let myself down if I can't, or if I can't figure out how to handle it, then I'm letting myself down. But that's not really the case, ever. And there's usually always somebody who can help you. Maybe they don't necessarily know more about the thing that you're trying to do, but they can nudge you in some direction that helps you to accomplish what you're doing. Like, recently I'd lost a very valuable camera card, and I looked everywhere for it, and I couldn't find it, and I was having a struggle. The struggle was real. It was torturous looking for it, and then I eventually gave up, and I was like, if I can't find it, then it's gone. But then I came in the house and I mentioned it to Katie, and she said, I'll look in my backpack for that, and she found it in her backpack. So it wasn't even something that it was like, I didn't even ask for help, although I should have.
You also didn't question why it was in my backpack.
Yeah, I probably should have done that too. But the thing is that even when you think that you've exhausted everything and it's just like, well, that's just impossible because I can't figure it out, the truth is that there usually is somebody out there who can help you.
Right. And the thing is, too, is that you are still an empowered, smart, fully capable person, even in asking for help. I feel like there's this illusion of, I'm flawed if I can't do it all myself. And if you think about,
You're actually flawed if you think you can do it all yourself.
Right. It'd be like the director of a film thinking they could be the actors and make the sets and write the scripts and, do everything just as the director. They're still the director and they still get the credit for making the film, but they asked other people for help, and that's what makes the masterpiece.
Right.
And I feel like you could even use, something that's dear to me, like writing. There are so many different components that go into creating a finished novel, and it's not something you could do just as one individual person, at least not something you could do to the absolute best of your ability. You need other people, and that's what actually makes the project stronger and even more beautiful, is asking for help and incorporating others and not being you on your own little island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So I think that saying no is empowering. Saying I need help is, a lot of people think it takes power away from you to say that, but I feel like that's actually empowering as well. And the third one is thank you. And I find this one, I think, is a funny one because you would think that that's a really, really, really easy thing to say, but I have found that for a lot of people it comes harder than they might think it does. Even for themselves, they might not even notice. It might be a completely subconscious thing. But a lot of times, I work retail, I work for my parents, And a lot of times I will compliment, especially women. Most of our customers are women. And I will compliment their outfit, or I'll compliment, their makeup, or I don't know, their hair, something. And that 9 times out of 10, they will come up with an excuse. They will kind of nervously laugh and then be like, oh, this sweater's so old. Oh, my hair's not that good. My hair's a mess. Oh, thanks. It's not that great. I'm not that great. And they'll act kind of embarrassed and nervous, and I can tell it's like, they're touched that you complimented them, but they can't just say thank you. They can't just accept the compliment. And I feel like, especially for young women in today's culture, it's become very hard to just accept compliments, accept that you're good enough, because there's this underlying presence within media and social media that you have to look a certain way, and you have to act a certain way, and you have to be a certain way in order to be validated by society. So whenever someone compliments you, you've torn down yourself so much in your own mind by comparison that you're like, oh no, I'm not really that great. And we really need to stop doing that. We need to start saying thank you for that compliment, because God created you as a unique individual being with beautiful gifts and talents, incredible eyes and hair and cool outfits, and you should just say thanks, Stop it with this, it's not that great. It was my older sister's, or my hair is a wreck. Just say thank you. That person obviously thought you were cool enough to pay a compliment to. So just say thank you and accept that, and be grateful for that interaction, that moment of interaction that you get with that person. Like, you wrote a song about this. So what do you think about that?
I think you said it basically. Yeah, like in my own experience, it's really hard to say thank you, even though I've kind of come to a place where I usually always say thank you, but I still feel like, I still look down a lot and just feel like, well, you think what you like. I don't mind you saying that, but it's not really true, kind of thing.
Like we've kind of talked.
If I think of that in my mind, I still say thank you, even though it's not something that kind of penetrates. It hasn't penetrated very far yet.
We've kind of talked before about compliments, and you said that sometimes you have, like, thoughts, like, when someone compliments you, of, like, well, why are you saying that? Like, you're kind of suspicious of why they're giving the compliment.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's just my personality or...
No, I think a lot of people do that, because they don't feel like...
Like, well, what's your motive? Why are you telling me this? Like, do you want to just make me feel good so that you have something you want to ask me, or something you need me to do, or I don't know what it is, but I just have kind of suspicion, and I think that also roots from not believing that you are cool, and you are beautiful, and you are amazing.
You are worth all the compliments.
Yeah, so that when you do get a compliment, you're like, well, there must be some other reason, because I'm not,
Right, exactly. And I think that it has a lot to do with self-worth, valuing yourself, because when you believe that you are beautiful and loved, and you have a great sense of style, and you have a fun, quirky taste in art, and the movies you like are cool, and the foods you like are interesting, and you are, guess what, you're an interesting person, okay? You're interesting. And you believe that about yourself, you'll be like, thank you. And it's not cocky to accept a compliment. I think a lot of people look at it as being, like, cocky.
Yeah, or, like, self-absorbed.
Right.
Self-satisfied.
It's not at all. When I give someone a compliment, to me, it's almost, like, irritating when they're, like, basically saying that you're lying to them.
Yeah.
It's downright rude,
So it should actually be socially harder to reject a compliment than to thank the person.
Right. So I feel like that's definitely one of the hardest things to say. Mm-hmm. So that is our list, and we hope that our chattering about this list of hard words has at least empowered you a little bit more to be able to say them a little bit louder and a little bit clearer. And we're going to end with a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson today. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Thank you guys so much.
Adios.